That's a Spanish joke for you Spanglish speaking boys and Spanglish speaking women. Yeah. Women watching my content. Yeah, right. Oh, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while, and yeah, look, things come up. I have a life outside of, you know, all of this, the digital world. Who would have guessed it? Yes, a loser virgin like me has a life outside. It's not an amazing life, but it's still a life nonetheless. Okay, shut up. But ladies, oh my god. But ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Nintendo, ladies and gentlemen, a franchise that I used to love. So apparently, all these goddamn gaming companies decided, you know what, we're gonna be you know what, we're gonna turn to dog shit. The only good one that's still viable, that is just supreme, is still Digital Extreme with Warframe. Holy crap, they're doing an amazing job. You would think these gaming companies would go, hey, Digital Extreme is, you know, they're doing really good. You know, they have TennoCon that doesn't look like it's slowing down. Their tickets sold out in like a matter of minutes, and you know, they still have a lot of people, and the player base is steady. You think we should copy them? Nah, let's just scam people. Let's just freaking be greedy as hell. Nintendo being dumb as hell. I've heard of some of the things about Switch 2, and I don't know what the hell they're thinking. It just seems dumb. The most dumbest thing I've heard so far is apparently the whole new cartridge. There's digital, and then there used to be physical. By physical, you own that copy. There it is. Digital, you download it. But most of the times digital, which I think Governor Newsom, what he did was made it where companies now have to make it more obvious to say that you're buying a license, not actually buying the game, because that's the majority of what you're doing. I feel like people don't know this, but whenever you're buying the game digitally, you're not actually buying the game. You're buying a license. You're buying permission to download and play that game. Then the Nintendo, for some reason, decides, hey, why don't we bring back physical, but make physical merge with digital? The game cartridge doesn't have the freaking files for the game. You have to put it in your Switch 2. Then all that is just you get a pass key, and then I think you still have to download the game in your console, so it's not actually physical. You're just using a physical thing to get a key to then download the game. It's like if you get a freaking car with a Switch ignition, and then the car manufacturer decides, hey, why don't you sell keys to turn in your car, which then allows you to use Switch ignition to then start your car. At that point, it's like, why am I buying a Switch ignition car when I could just buy a normal car with, you know, keys? I'm gonna be reacting to Greg Glinstone. Hopefully I said that right. I don't want to be rude. Anyway, he made a video called Boycott Nintendo, and honestly, they kind of deserve it. They kind of deserve it, dude. They're the kid-friendly version of Call of Duty, basically. They know they can keep getting away with greedy shit because morons keep buying their shit. And yes, I'm gonna call you guys morons because you keep buying their shit, and they know that you're gonna keep buying their shit. So then they keep doing the same shit, and then you guys complain. I said this last time, I think, in my previous reaction video. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more time. I went on a rant. I'm sorry. Whatever. And yes, if you're new to the channel, 1, subscribe. Also check out my main channel, The Fortunate Hero. That's where I upload the dumb gaming moments. And it'd be nice if we can get to 2,000 subs in that other channel. And also, if you notice, I don't have a freaking webcam, and it'd be kind of boring if I just had the video, so I post webcam footage like this. Boom, editor, do it please. Thank you, love you. And yeah, that's it. Let's start reacting, ladies and gentlemen. What? Oh wait, is this Resident Evil? I don't, never mind. Nintendo faces what? Why is Nintendo Switch 2 so expensive? Oh, and I heard it's $499 or $450. Was it Nintendo Switch 2? And then the freaking controllers don't even have Hall effect.
As a knee-jerk overreaction to something that really isn't that serious. It's not. It's serious. Boycott Nintendo. I want to make it very clear that the reasons I'm calling for this boycott have nothing to do with creative decisions that Nintendo have made or are making in their launch slate. This is all about business. And as a consumer of Nintendo products, I have every right to push back on ruthless business strategies. This is not about people who make games. This is about people who sell them.
Good.
Nintendo absolutely deserves to be called out. And that's why I feel so confident saying boycott Nintendo.
Good thing I'm not buying a Switch.
I say that as a massive fan of Nintendo. The Super Nintendo was my first console. My top 10 games of all time would mostly be filled with Nintendo games. I have been really excited for the Switch 2, but now I've decided that I won't be getting one. Not because I think the games don't look good, because I don't think the company deserves my money. I say boycott Nintendo because I want them to change and be better, not because I want them to go out of business. I love Nintendo. Boycott Nintendo.
I love Nintendo, but boycott
it now. But this is all information that I have as of today, the 5th of April. This is all subject to change, and if it does...
And then if I'm right, I think they announced they're making a new Kirby Air Ride game for the Switch. Oh, god damn it. Wait, is that actually true? God damn it, it is. This entire time I've been wanting a freaking new Kirby Air Ride. The amount of love that I had for that freaking game, playing it with my brother, the amount of nostalgia, the freaking city time trials. Holy crap. I freaking love the city trials. Always wanted a freaking remastered or something. Nintendo kept saying that, we don't know if it's possible. I don't know if there's enough freaking, want for a new Kirby Air Ride. And then they do it, and now it's for the most controversial freaking console in Nintendo history. Actually, no, wait, I think the Wii U is... Either way, it's a controversial... It's a cronk? What? Controversial... I can't... I'm angry.
This is all subject to change, and if it does, I'll put something in a pinned comment. So here's what I have for now.
Okay.
It's not just about the pricing, although that's definitely the straw that broke the camel's back, and we'll get to it soon. There is more to it than that. There's a lot of people repeating
old hardware.
Drop the price in those Nintendo live streams they're doing, but even if they did that...
I forgot I heard about that. They did a live stream, I don't know where, on Twitch or YouTube or both or something, and I think it was a 5-hour or 4-hour stream, and the entire time everybody was putting just drop the price. I don't remember the specs of the Switch 2, but it just sounds like an old system. I think I watched a bit of the Moist's video where it looks like they copied Discord or something, and it looks really bad. The screen looks like it's running on 10 frames per second on the live stream or whatever. And then I think you also have to buy a separate camera, which is $50.
Drop the price in those Nintendo live streams they're doing. But even if they did that, they still have a lot to answer for. The first thing I want to talk about is this thing about the physical game key cards. Some of the Switch 2 games you buy will not have the game data on there. The cartridges will be empty, with the exception of a code that will allow you to download the game.
Stupid.
I should say from the outset, there's a lot of misinformation online about this. This isn't all games. This doesn't include any of the first-party games that we know of. I've seen this argument used as a reason why this isn't such a bad thing. No. If only a fraction of Switch 2 games did this, it's still a terrible thing. It is. This isn't one games company coming out and saying their game doesn't fit on one particular cartridge. This is a feature that Nintendo has advertised. It's coming from them. If there are certain games coming to their platform that do not fit on their cartridges, they should be prioritizing better storage for their cartridges. But it's not a storage problem. Bravely Default is only 11 gigs. There's no reason why this data shouldn't be on the cartridge. None. My first thought with all of this was, holy shit, this is what Microsoft did with the Xbox One. No more pre-owned games, no more lending your games to your friends, and that's why they revealed those digital game cards. It's not a fun new feature, it's a replacement. I've seen some places report that these are not tied to your account and can be traded and used like physical cartridges, but I can't find anything from Nintendo.
That cartridge is basically just nostalgia bait. They're just trying to... I feel like it's just nostalgia bait at this point. What the hell's the point? I think if I'm right, I'm kind of stupid right now, but not all games will have that feature. Some games will be in the cartridge, some won't, and it'll just be a code. Why not just leave it digital? Like I'm saying, it just feels like nostalgia bait. They want to capitalize on people like me growing up in the good old days where it's like, oh, I want to get a cartridge. I want to go get that Nintendo 64 cartridge. I want to go get that Nintendo DS cartridge of Metroid or freaking Mario Kart DS and all this. That's what they're trying. I feel like they're kind of capitalizing on or banking on it. But it just doesn't make any sense. It's so dumb.
But I can't find anything from Nintendo directly. This is all still developing, and I'll keep you updated, but regardless of whether these are tied to your console or not, it's really fucking annoying. If you're like me, you buy physical copies of games you're likely to play quite a bit from time to time to save up on taking space on your Switch. You can't do that anymore because the keycard doesn't allow you to download onto the card itself, but onto your Switch 2. The Nintendo website says this: please note, to download the game, you must have enough free space in your Nintendo Switch 2 system memory or micro SD express card. So, you must either have enough storage or re-download them every time a friend makes the offhanded suggestion, want to play Street Fighter. That's fucking stupid. That's one of the core reasons to buy physical media as opposed to digital, to save on digital storage space. It's much less convenient than buying digital because although it's still taking up storage on your Switch 2, the keycard needs to be inserted. Meaning if you wanted to switch from Street Fighter to Bravely Default, you need to swap the cartridges even though they're just empty plastic and the data is on the console itself. There is no reason for this.
Even though it's a dumb fake physical, but it's still technically digital, if I want to switch the game, I need to still switch out the cartridge. It's exactly like he said. There's no reason for this. It's just stay digital. Nintendo, like I said, this is kind of, I feel that this is kind of a bit of nostalgia baiting. But at the same time, I feel that Nintendo is trying to do new things, even though they don't need to. If it ain't broke, why fix it, basically? What's the name of the machine gun that the freaking military still uses, even though it was invented a while ago? The freaking Browning LMG. It's still used today, even though it was used a long time ago, because it's still a good weapon to use. I mean, dude, a perfect example as well is freaking... If I'm right, my brother told me in the lore of Destiny 2, the reason why the shotguns are still the same, they use buckshots or whatever, is because I think somewhere in the lore he told me that the shotguns are still viable weapons, they still work well. Why change it? Destiny 2, where they have all these laser guns, and there are some, you know, futuristic shotguns in there, I'm not gonna lie. But the majority of legendary shotguns, you see them always loading in a buckshot round in there, or a slug round in there. Because if it ain't broke, why fix it? Just use buckshot, put in some elements in there, put in a bit of void, put in a bit of solar, put in a bit of arc. Boom. Arc shotgun. Still with buckshot because it's still viable. It's the same here. Why do all this? Just make it physical or make it digital. There's no reason to make a fake physical that's digital.
There is no reason for this.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Bad for the environment.
And it raises a lot of questions. If the game is patched in a way that you don't like, the original game that you may prefer is lost. You don't have the original physical media. The game is whatever Nintendo decides it should be, and what happens in the next console generation. What does your keycard do then? What happens when the Switch 2 eShop shuts down in the same way previous consoles have? These cartridges are less functional, have a much shorter half-life, and cost more money. Microsoft handled that Xbox One situation really badly. It lost them the console war that generation, and they've since struggled to recover. Phil Spencer has since said that it was a massive wake-up call for them and drove them to be more consumer-friendly. Nintendo is doing a very similar thing now, but the difference between the Xbox One and the Switch 2 is that the Switch 2 is a handheld system. So picture this. You're at the airport with your Switch 2, you decide that you're going to buy a duty-free game and play it on your 16-hour flight. Well, you better hope the airport Wi-Fi lets you download a 70 gig file before boarding, bucko, or you're not playing your brand new game that you just bought for $80. While we're on that, let's talk about the pricing. Nintendo hid all of this in the recent Direct for a very good reason. They knew it would make people angry. But all of the discussions I've seen about this have just focused on Mario Kart World. It's not just Mario Kart World. Pre-orders for most of the world are not available until next week, but price...
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. There it is. That's what I was saying. The freaking knockoff Discord that they made, and it looks like it's running on 10 frames per second.
Able to pre-order
Look at the choppiness
and select games.
At that point, you should just use Discord.
Pre-orders for most of the world are not available until next week, but in Australia, we're able to pre-order both the Switch 2 and select games right now from two of the biggest retailers, EB Games and JB Hi-Fi.
Never heard of them.
The price that Mario Kart World is set at is shared by other launch games as well. Not big new first-party games, re-releases of much older games. Even when it's available for a fraction of that price on other platforms. But these are Australian prices. I don't know how it would work wherever you are, and this is all subject to change. People are talking a lot about the US prices and blaming the recent tariff situation, but look at the UK. £74.99 for Mario Kart World is $97 US. That's insane. The current tariff situation in America isn't the reason for this, but it could affect things very soon, because pre-orders have just been halted in the US due to some recent announcements by Trump, meaning it could be soon that American Nintendo fans will be looking to pay even more. Australian prices
going to be $150.
are really weird. Around the time of the Switch's release, a new game was priced at around 80 to 100 Australian dollars, which is about 50 to 60 USD. And that's the price that Switch games still sell for here. But in between that time, the other consoles have had a new generation, and in Australia, we saw a massive price increase from $80 to $100 to around and above $120. Which is about the price that people are so angry at currently with Nintendo. We've paid for that for all our non-Nintendo games for years now. We're suckers. In fact, unlike other countries, we have the privilege of paying less for Switch 2 games than current PS5 games. But even though it's less, it's still too much. Because these games never go down in price, and they very rarely go on sale, and when they do, it's not for a very significant discount.
Yep, I've heard about that about Nintendo. They're really stingy about prices. They really never do sales, or they reduce prices for older titles usually. They're basically the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 of Steam. Every time you go to Steam and you look at Black Ops 2, oh, it's $59.99. Even though the game came out when? How old is Black Ops 2 now? Holy mama, I'm getting old. 2012 it came out, and the damn game is still freaking $59.99. Let's check it out. What did I say? Hey, you want to get a digital deluxe on that freaking Call of Duty Black Ops 2? Guess what? $79.99. Or do you want the whole bundle? All the Call of Duty, or all the DLCs and everything? $99.99. That is so stupid.
There is no buy now or wait for a sale question with Nintendo. It's buy at this price or don't. That's why the price difference is so difficult to swallow, even for Australia, where the price change is more in line with the competition. And before you say, but inflation, no fucking no. Because although prices were higher in the past when accounting for inflation, the old Nintendo was once much more consumer-friendly. The Super Nintendo was my first console. Adjusting for inflation, it was sold for about $460 US. The Switch price, adjusted for inflation, was about $391 US. But that's not taking into account all of the other charges. The Super Nintendo came with 2 controllers. The Switch came with 2 Joy-Con controllers and 1 Joy-Con grip to combine them. The single Joy-Cons are pretty much useless, and the combined grip controller isn't great. So I'd say if you have a Switch, it's pretty likely that you either have a Pro controller or something like it, and that adds about $70, which puts it at the same price as the Super Nintendo. But that's not taking into account the monthly fee that is mandatory to get access to any and all.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
It also doesn't account for all the extra storage space you'll need to be buying, especially now that even your game cartridges don't have games on them. Gaming is much more of a lifestyle than ever before.
It's dog shit, that's what it is. It ain't a lifestyle anymore, it's dog shit. Like I said, why is it in Russian? What the freaking Christ, gaming nowadays is horrible. God damn, golden age of gaming gone down to hell. We went from golden age of gaming to now golden age of gaming, but the golden age of this age is now more of just because we're getting pissed on by these gaming companies. That's the golden part. We're getting a hefty dose of freaking urine down our freaking throats from these gaming companies. That's why it's golden right now. Oh, hey, you wanna shoot some bad guys in Battlefield? You're gonna have to pay $1 for every magazine you shoot, because that sounds like an amazing idea to us. Capitalism, baby. What's that? You wanna buy a physical game that's not physical and it's actually digital, and we're just selling you a piece of plastic that you're obligated to have inside your system to play the game, and if you take it out, you can't play the game anymore because that makes sense? Yeah, we could do that. Capitalism. Hey, by the way, we're gonna release a brand new version of the game that you all love. It's gonna have PvE, a story mode, and guess what? You can still play with the people from the first generation of the game, the first game. Yeah, never mind, we lied. We just made a new game. We just took out loot boxes and made you pay for skins, and it's worse now. Gaming sucks now. That's what it is. That's what it needs. That's why indie games are doing good, because they're not morons. They're actually doing good games compared to these AAA games that run word. It's kind of funny. These AAA games, you would think, oh damn, they're gonna be really good. Oh, they shipped out broken, and it takes like 10 months for them to fix it, because apparently adding a scoreboard is asking too much in a FPS freaking multiplayer shooter game. Whoa, that's asking too much, guys. I don't know how freaking, I don't know how old Call of Duty devs for freaking Black Ops 2, I don't know how they did it. Holy crap, adding a scoreboard and adding all that functionality, that should be basic things in a FPS game like that. I don't know how they did it. I swear modern game devs are like, they look at old video games and they think it's like the pyramids, how some people go like, aliens must have helped those freaking pyramids get built, because ain't no way these humans lifted these giant ass stones and got in. It's like the same reaction these game devs go, there's no way they coded this. Them aliens must have come down and helped them code the scoreboard in Black Ops 2. It's impossible.
Gaming is much more of a lifestyle than ever before. There are so many more games than there were on those early consoles. So you are buying more games than people did back then and spending more time playing them. Even if the Switch 2 did come with 2 Pro controllers and online was free, it still wouldn't make sense to adjust pricing for one simple reason.
Get a Steam Deck.
It's not just about the price of the units. It's about units sold. The Super Nintendo sold for 49.1 million units worldwide. The Switch sold for 150.86 million units and is their highest selling console of all time. And that's not taking into account the large array of merchandise. Nintendo now has theme park deals. They have movie deals. In the last 25 years, since the year 2000, Nintendo has increased its market value by over 10 times. Don't you dare tell me, won't somebody please think of inflation? Nintendo is doing just fine.
They have enough
They're
goddamn
not going
money.
out of business if they continue selling at their current prices. They aren't covering their losses. They just want more money. And it should be obvious, but this ripples out. The problem is not whether you think these games on this hardware are worth this price, because everyone else is watching this. Do you think Sony and Microsoft are currently sitting back in their chairs thinking, wow, that's expensive, but we'd never do that. We're consumer friendly. No.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of this. Yeah, God, that's actually a bad look, because then people being morons are gonna go, oh, it's Nintendo, I'm gonna buy it. Then they buy it, and then Sony's gonna see, yeah, these guys are just buying more expensive shit. All right, let's make video games more expensive because Nintendo's doing it. We could do it too.
Wow, that's expensive.
Square.
We'd never do that. We're consumer friendly. No. They're waiting to see if it affects Nintendo's bottom line, and if it doesn't, they're pressing the big red $80 US button too, because they have no reason to if it doesn't stop you from reaching for your wallet. Sony and Microsoft do, however, much better job selling stuff to us than Nintendo. Australian pricing aside, all of these game companies offer complimentary services to ease the sting of paying a monthly fee for online services. Yes, they are typically more expensive than Nintendo's online fee, but they offer so much more.
And
Nintendo offers
stuff.
a selection of very, very old games. They offer some additional functionality and some services, but broadly speaking, they're pretty much direct ports, and it is a very limited selection. A fraction of their back catalog with some very notable absences.
You know what I just realized? Nintendo is basically the freaking Disney of the gaming world. Made a new console, guess what? We're porting these old games into the new one. You have to re-buy the game, by the way. Hey, we made a new console again. Guess what? That game you bought, yeah, you want to play it here, you're gonna have to re-buy it again. I don't know why it took me a while to realize that. Yeah, Nintendo loves doing that, and that's basically what Disney does right now. All these old movies, yeah, let's remaster. They're not even remastered. Let's just make them live action, because why try to make a new IP when we can just use an old story that people like and then make it worse IRL? Why make a brand new game, and why try something new when we could just port the old game into this new console that we're making?
A fraction of their back catalog with some very notable absences. Microsoft and Sony, however, offer free monthly games and access to a massive catalog, hundreds of games long. Not just old games, new ones. Sometimes brand new ones. Animal Well was on here day one.
I haven't played that
Most
game
games I play are on the PlayStation Plus library. Nintendo doesn't have an equivalent. To play Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, and now GameCube games, you need to buy the upper tier, the expansion pack. The expansion pack also allows access to some additional features, such as access to the expansion passes to some modern first-party Nintendo games. But speaking now, at the end of the Switch lifecycle, that features only 3 games. There are a ton of other Nintendo games with very similar expansion passes, even Splatoon 3, but this feature is completely restricted to just these 3 games. If you don't have them, it's useless. There is no legitimate reason for this. This feature should include all first-party expansion passes. It makes no sense to only include these 3 games. It was announced with the Switch 2 that the expansion pack membership will allow you to upgrade both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to the Nintendo Switch 2 editions at no additional cost. That's pretty neat, but it's only these 2 games. For Kirby and Mario Party, you still need to pay for the upgrade. There is no good reason the expansion pack shouldn't include all Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades. But even if they allowed that, it still wouldn't match what is offered by their competition. The selection of games on Nintendo Online and the expansion pack is woeful. They announced only 3 games playable for the GameCube. That wouldn't be so hard to swallow if this wasn't the only legal way to play most of their back catalog, with the exception of having the old physical games.
F-Zero GX, amazing, bring it back.
Nintend's back catalog is lost media. It's abandonware. And the reason is simple. Because they want to repackage it and sell it back to you as a remaster or as part of a collection.
What'd I say? Disney.
Nintendo puts so much of their focus on remastered games. Every direct they do is filled with them. But there's no way to buy or play the original games. So if you don't like the way they remaster them, tough. Often the remastered editions play worse than the original games, but you don't have the option to choose the original game as an alternative. You either pay modern prices or you don't get the game. It doesn't have to be this way, and there was a time, not that long ago, that it wasn't. I was pumping my fist in the air when Super Mario 3D All-Stars was announced, but then I realized that was only because I could finally play Galaxy again. It wasn't that it was a good product that was reasonably priced. It was that I could finally play a game I really liked, and it didn't matter that they were selling it to me for the price of a modern AAA game, because I had no alternative. Super Mario All-Stars for the Super Nintendo had more games and less time had passed since their original release. How does inflation explain this? Nintendo wasn't always like this. We used to have an eShop not that long ago where you could buy all these games.
Oh, the nostalgia of the Wii, dude. Oh, still remember freaking first time ever just waking up in the morning, going on the Wii, going on YouTube and just watching the freaking Minecraft Let's Play on Friday from Rooster Teeth at the time before they switched to the Let's Play channel. The good old days. Oh, yeah, you remember the good old days where you would get a new console and Nintendo would still be like, hey, guess what? I know you got the Wii and you can buy Wii games, but guess what? The Wii can run GameCube games as well. Just, open the port on the top and guess what? There's the GameCube controller. Plug that bad boy in and play some GameCube games, your old games. And now we have current Nintendo.
Nintendo wasn't always like this. We used to have an eShop not that long ago where you could buy all these games individually and have them forever. Nintendo used to get a lot of flack for making people re-buy all their games every console generation, but at least back then, you could buy them. A big component of the Switch 2 launch slate is Metroid Prime 4. It is the sequel to the Prime trilogy, which you can't play. You can't play the games that lead directly into one of the big Switch 2 launch titles. First-timers won't know the context. Yeah. People who played these games over 20 years ago have no way of refreshing their memory. You just can't legally do that.
No, you can. It's watching a gameplay, no commentary gameplay on YouTube just to refresh your mind, basically. Or, that is the illegal way, but legally
do that.
Go on YouTube and watch.
Wii, Nintendo sold the Metroid Prime trilogy as one combined collection. They sold this one generation after the first two games and only 2 years after the last. The Prime trilogy not only included all the games in the trilogy, they featured remastered graphics, a new control scheme, and additional features. They sold this for $50 US, the same price as every other Wii game. For the next console generation, the Wii U, the Prime trilogy was sold for even less, $20 US. The Nintendo of today would never do that.
Yep.
One generation later, Mario 3D All-Stars featured games that were significantly older than the ones in the Prime trilogy, with less features, less functionality, and for more money. Boycott Nintendo. Yes, it sucks. Mario Kart World looks awesome. Donkey Kong 2. Dusk Bloods? That looks crazy. Yeah. I would love to play that.
I forgot they got an exclusive from Software, the Dusk Bloods. I forgot about that. Oh, that makes it even worse because people that want to play, because I know Dark Souls is a big freaking thing, and there's gonna be people just buying the Switch 2 just to play this game. I just love the theory of Nintendo. Hey, you want to play Nintendo, or you want to play Super Mario 64 on your Nintendo Switch 2? That'll be $100.
That looks crazy. I would love to play that, but no. Boycott Nintendo.
What the?
I've got enough on my backlog that I don't need to fork out what they're asking. I've got games to play, and so do you.
What game is this?
Yes, shiny and new is exciting, but sending a message is more important, because imagine a world where Nintendo offered what their competition did. Imagine a world where you could buy any game from the Nintendo catalog for a small price or pay a small monthly fee and get those games and many, many more. New games.
Impossible.
And 2 extra free games every month. That is the industry standard. Nintendo has decided that the industry standard is not for them. They've decided to offer us far less than that, and we've been kissing their feet saying thank you for far too long. No. Boycott Nintendo.
Well, too bad. It's going to keep happening.
If you really
I'm sorry.
can't stand the FOMO, buy secondhand. That's assuming you're able to do that with this physical keycard situation, but don't put money directly in their pockets. Don't buy digitally from the eShop. Just don't. They need to get the message that they need to adjust their business practices and make consumers happy. They need to get that same wake-up call that Phil Spencer got all those years ago. Don't let them get away with it. If you were really in the market for a brand new handheld
What'd I say? Steam Deck.
For God's sakes, buy a Steam Deck.
Get a Steam Deck.
If you
Way better.
really do want some of that Nintendo charm, you can get more of it on the Steam Deck than on the Switch 2. If you want access to Nintendo's back catalog, you fucking got it. The Steam Deck can do that. Not only all the consoles up to the GameCube, Wii as well, the Nintendo DS, even the Switch.
Hell yeah, baby.
You can kit your Steam Deck with every single game in the Nintendo back catalog with a higher resolution and frame rate and added functionality, and you can do it for free. If you've bought those games before, you should be able to use an emulator to play them, especially if there is no other alternative.
I got my NVIDIA Shield, baby.
Yours.
I can use that.
If Nintendo hasn't given you...
If any of you know about the NVIDIA Shield, you're freaking awesome. Let me know. Let me know down in the comment. I bought that NVIDIA Shield at Fry's. And if you know about Fry's, oh, rest in peace, Fry's. I remember going every week to Fry's with my parents because we would always go do something every time on weekends. And they would, most of the time, they would always be like, hey, you want to go there? I'm like, yes, please. And I would just look around as a kid, looking at technology, looking at the graphics cards, looking at all the monitors. And then at the back, they would always have the demo for Guitar Hero 3, and I would just go over there and play Guitar Hero 3. Oh, and then I remember growing up and when I was a teenager being like, oh god, I really wish I could work at Fry's because I love how they're just wearing a freaking casual suit as their freaking work uniform, and you get to work around technology. And Fry's is pretty freaking cool because every Fry's has like a unique style. There was like the Alien, then there was the Alice in Wonderland, but then they closed down, and now I feel sad. God, let me know down in the comments if you know about Fry's and the NVIDIA Shield. You guys are awesome if you know.
If Nintendo hasn't given you a way to play the games that you have already paid for, find your own methods. I wish I could be excited to give Nintendo money to make more great games. I wish I could be excited for the future of the Switch 2. I'm not. I'm really, really angry, and I think you should be angry too. In a post-capitalist world, you have only one form of real power. Not your vote, not your voice, nothing you do matters more than who you decide to give your money to. So don't give it to them. Boycott Nintendo.
Too bad, because people are still stupid and they're still gonna buy the Switch 2, still buy all these games. Perfect example, look at Call of Duty. Alright, that's the end of the video. Okay, well, that was an amazing video. Well, Gred Glinstone, that was an amazing video. By the way, his video is gonna be linked in the description, and you can go and check him out and sub and like his video. His channel is gonna be in the description as well. And yeah, I'm sorry, but I wish Nintendo would get boycott so they can wake up. I wish these gaming companies would wake up, and honestly, like I said, I loved Call of Duty, and now I wish they would get boycott because that would be the easiest and most, it'll be the most easiest way to tell, hey, Call of Duty, wake the F up. It just doesn't work. People still play Call of Duty, they still buy Call of Duty, they still keep buying the skins. Call of Duty went, hey, we're not gonna make yearly releases next year, hey, we're releasing a new Call of Duty even though we said that we weren't gonna do it, and then here it is, a brand new Call of Duty. People buy it, people keep buying their skins, and then they complain about the game being bad because Call of Duty doesn't care about the game anymore. All they care about is selling skins because it makes them money, and they just ignore you and they just keep rinsing, repeating because they know people are dumb enough to still keep buying Call of Duty and keep buying skins and keep buying Call of Duty, keep complaining, ignored them, keep buying skins, and it's just dumb. And Nintendo, I feel like it. Who knows? Maybe there is a chance that Nintendo will wake up. I don't know if I just highly doubt the whole boycott is going to happen. I just don't think. I feel that the Switch 2 will still be a good console that people are gonna keep buying a lot, and you know, people are gonna keep buying the games. I'm afraid if that happens, that other companies are going to actually get involved, as you said, Gred. Yeah, I don't know. Gaming is horrible. Gaming is shit now. I want to cry. Anyway, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, his video and his channel will be in the description. Go check him out, give him some love, go sub and like, and why don't you throw a sub my way and a like my way, and you know, go check out my main channel like I said earlier. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts down in the comment if you have anything to say, if you agree, if you disagree, if you have any other info about Nintendo and any, I don't know, any, just comment, have some fun down in the comment section. Anyway, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, peace, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.